Attention, please. This is your official civil defense broadcaster.
One of the greatest threats would be radioactive fallout.
Uranium fever.
Where fallout is heaviest, it can even kill those who have not taken proper shelter.
Broadcasting deep underground in a questionably constructed survivalist bunker is Dave CHAFINZ and Kenneth VIGUE, and your host, as always, Mr. Robots. This episode of the Fallout Hub is brought to you by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Open enrollment for advanced robotics courses starts now. Totally nothing sketchy going on. Nope, not at all.
Dave!
Tom?
Can you hear me?
No.
Okay.
I can't. Hang on.
Use the link. I'm trying to connect us so we can do this thing remotely.
Okay. All right. Let me see if I can. All right. If I hold. Okay, I've got you. Can
There
hear
you
me?
are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can't hold this for the rest of the show.
Here, try to just lay it on your head.
Okay.
You're still okay. You're
Can you
still
hear me
good
now? Okay.
Yep. Then just leave it like that.
Can you hear me now?
It still works. All right. It's good. It's working on the floor. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Yeah. We're on. Okay. So
Cool.
we just need to get Ken in.
We
here.
need to get Ken in.
Okay. Let me see. I mean, we already connected earlier, but it took us a while. Let me see if I can get him back up.
Okay.
Oh, there. Oh, he fell
He's
asleep.
asleep. Kenneth
Ken.
VIGUE.
Marmalade and underwear.
Marmalade and underwear.
VIGUE.
What is he dreaming about? Ken, wake up.
Kenneth, there's port here.
What?
Port. There's not really port here.
There we go.
Hey, you ready? I know it took us a while to get Dave on, but we're good. We're ready now.
Who
We're
is
here.
this?
It's us.
It's us.
Hold on. Look at your screen. Look at your computer screen. Hello. Hey. Hey.
We're on video.
Man, you were deep in a dream.
Bigglesworth dragged me in here again.
I don't know, but we're doing the podcast thing. We gotta record. And we're separated in our own rooms. Remember? So, viewers, listeners, we had kind of an air filtration issue. Bigglesworth warned us and has now sequestered us to our own rooms in the vault, which we have decorated to our own likings.
That's true.
And so we're going to be recording separately, like a video call type thing, so that we don't, get each other sick, I guess.
And if you're on audio, I mean, this really, I mean, you won't notice a dip in quality, I assure you.
Yeah, it'll be completely the same. So you're not gonna have to worry about that. But thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the Fallout Hub. I'm your host, Tom or Robots, and I'm here as always with my two co-hosts. We have Ken, who just woke up from a deep slumber, dreaming about marmalade and underwear.
What?
You said something when you woke up about marmalade. Do you remember what you were dreaming about?
Dave, how have you been?
I've been good.
Wow. All right. And Dave, the other co-host. Hey, Dave.
Yeah, I have sequestered myself to the music room in the vault. It turns out that the one thing that they failed to mention about the music room is that none of these instruments actually work. They just put them on the walls as a decoration. And I tried to play. I tried to play one of them, and it didn't move. It's all just like solid steel. It's like a Disney World prop. Like
it doesn't even come off the wall. It's just like
the only thing that I managed to put up in here that's I guess real is my degree, which I am gonna frequently point to in this manner because it's really fun to like have the hand appear. And
it's so strange that you had that with you when we stumbled into the vault.
I like to be
convenient.
I like to be very prepared if somebody tries to question the amount of knowledge that I have, and then I can point you to the degree
just go
and
like this.
be like, listen, man.
Yeah, I had
God's
Moroccan curtains and an Afghan. I'm glad I brought that with me.
Yeah. He's in the grandma room. He's in the mama however you say that room.
Yes.
Are there like old cookies and like perfume? Oh, there's like really weird jelly beans. Do you have any of those in there?
Yeah, the room kind of smells a little bit like flowery perfume and BO at the same time.
I have, let's see, there's a glass jar over there that's filled with hard candies that are so old they've gone soft inside the wrapper. There's also a tea cart with orange Picot tea and a tea
Ooh.
cozy.
Fancy.
And all of the furniture in here is covered with plastic.
Do they have any reruns of Matlock?
Constantly. And the Golden Girls, constantly
Yes.
cycling.
No, there is an awful lot of Columbo, though. Columbo seems to be on every single channel.
Yeah.
Just one more thing.
Tom, it looks like you're in a very well-themed room. What kind of place are you in?
Well, I mean, I'm in the main recording room, and there was all this Fallout stuff around. You can see like the Brotherhood flag, like all this stuff was all in the vault already, so I didn't really have to decorate very much.
Tom gets the good room.
Yeah. This is what we get. So, yeah. So if you are listening on the podcast right now, wondering what we're talking about, we are all of the episodes will be recorded and up on YouTube on the Chad Fallout 76 YouTube, so you can tune in and see our actual human meat faces talking and stuff. And if we have guests, maybe they'll show up also. I don't know how we're gonna have somebody if somebody shows up on this episode, which always seems to be the case. Somebody always seems to wander in here, but
except for last time, nobody wandered in here last time. I mean, it was like
That's true.
Peace and quiet, baby.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah, but I mean, even if someone opens up the big vault door, I'm not gonna know. Like, I'm not near the front of the place. So I guess we'll just have to see. So this week on the podcast, we are talking about news and events, and we've got a Fallout 101 and a soapbox. And Dave, you want to kick us off with some news and events?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Charleston Herald here, reporting from the music room of the vault that has a number that I forgot if we have said it before, but I'm going to call it unnumbered because that's more fun. The news that we have this week. First piece of news, and let's start with some like recent stuff. Okay, right now, probably by the time you're listening to this, guess what time it is? It's time for Fasnacht. And
Fasnacht time.
Happy
that
Fasnacht.
means you got to get your mass, you got to get your donuts, got to get your fire, or I guess you really need wood to start that fire. And we're all going to Helvetia in Fallout 76.
That's my favorite font.
That's Helvetica. Thank you very much.
Crap.
We're all going to Helvetia, and we're all going to do our little parade and get some old and new goodies. Some of my favorite masks and things. Frankly, it is probably in my top 2 events that they have come out with for 76. I don't know about you all.
Everybody loves Fasnacht. Everybody loves it and can't spell it.
It was the first big community event that brought everyone together on the server to do something fun and positive. So I'm so glad it's back.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, this was the first moment where they were like, wait, we can all get together and have fun in an event together? That's awesome. And like
they did say, and they said really too, game days at the panel, they talked about how Fasnacht was kind of a definitive event that changed their perception of creating community events. That's where Meat Week and a lot of these other ones came from.
I think it's more getting like, it's nice to have everybody like you have a reason to see everyone. Like it feels more like a multiplayer game when everyone is like, it's not so intense that you need people like manning something or doing something. Like it's like this and Meat Week seem like events that it's like anybody can come to, anybody can play a role, and it's more about being together and doing the event.
When I did it last year, it was one of the first times that I noticed, like, I think one of the things about it is that you show up, you get in the little parade, people keep showing up and coming up, and you see all the different costumes and all the things they're wearing. But then Dave was choking on something.
Filtration system.
The filtration system is not working.
Damn it.
Damn it. All right. But it's one of the things I noticed about this was that as people came in, often, I don't know, maybe even half the people who showed up had their mics on and were actually communicating and talking and like, hey, where do we go next? What do we do? Like communicating about it, laughing, having fun. It felt very alive and communal. And there was very little, nobody was being a jerk. Like, it was really cool.
Well, I'm glad we all liked it. I'm glad that we collectively have agreed that the German Spring Festival, where we come out of, we're coming out of winter. That's the theme of Fasnacht around the world. Is it's kind of like it's like the opposite of a fall festival, where it's like we're going into fall, we're going to eat a bunch of food so that we're all, nice and cozy for the winter. This one is more like we're going to burn the effigy of winter. And we're all going to come together because it has been cold for far too long in our German village, and we're going to celebrate the springtime. Ken, moving on into our next piece of news, you have an update for us on the vending situation. Our gumshoe Ken coming in with a deep dive on that vending situation going on out in the world of Appalachia.
Vending.
So, as everyone knows and is kind of irritated at this point, the vending machines have been shut down for a while now. With the last patch, there's a major dupe that came out. They keep having dupe issues between either display cases or vending machines. So this time around, they shut them down completely. To stop them from being used, especially during the events that are running on right now, which lend themselves to duper madness to try and get all of those rare plans and rare items and rare outfits. So the machines have been shut down, which is in a way frustrating, partly because with the treasure hunter event, we have, similar to Christmas, you can purchase the pails from vendors. The problem is that they are very expensive, significantly more expensive than wrapping paper. So your choices are either grind through the event, as people have been, or to go buy lunch boxes, which have a higher chance of dropping the rarer stuff. But you end up blowing through all of your caps, and would be caps poor without vending machines running. You can't really safely conduct trades. You can still do stuff, of course, in forums, and people like to use the vending machines, so there's a degree of safety there. So with that disabled, it's kind of irking many of the community. Valseek, the community manager who handles the Bethesda .NET community, posted this update that Hi, I know it's frustrating that vending machines are still disabled. We want to make sure the duping issue is fixed up before we bring them back online. We're still actively working on that fix, but I unfortunately don't have any new info on timing to share right now. As soon as I have something concrete to share, I'll update this sticky thread. In the meantime, thanks so much for your patience with this. We want vending and displays turned back on ASAP too. I think it's more than likely we won't get them back maybe until the next big patch. They've been trying to also enable anti-cheat. I believe that rolled out with the last patch. They're going to be rolling out better anti-cheat going forward to prevent problems like this.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But,
yeah, it is.
Hopefully these issues become less and less as they are able to resolve them over time and keep updating the engine.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the plan, but it's a bummer that has to happen during an event like this.
One of the downsides for a live game is as it develops, more and more problems arise, which is just kind of par for the course when it comes to, as an expert of live video game development, I am.
You have a degree.
I have a degree. In what? Unsure.
You can't read it from here.
Nope.
Here, so it's whatever Dave wants it to be.
Nanotechnology and microbiology. A very small degree. Moving on. Into
postmodern knitting.
Underwater basket weaving. Moving on into our next piece of news. Just kind of encompassing, there was a big Inside the Vault recently, and it literally released, I think, like the day after we released this episode. So we haven't talked about it yet, but there's a new roadmap for Fallout 76 going into 2020, which includes things as new seasons, which are a kind of a revamp of some of their challenges and how they want to go forward with the game. Some previews as to some interesting things that they're doing with perks, as well as smaller, I guess, details within the game, but also teasing at a storyline involving the Brotherhood of Steel. So I kind of wanted to open the floor and see what your all's thoughts on the season, or not season, the roadmap are.
Well, I can start. I really like the idea of seasons. And when they first put it out, they noted that the first season would be free, which led a lot of people to speculate, including myself, that the other seasons would be paid for or exclusive to Fallout First or something like that. To which they promptly responded within just a few days, I believe, of that coming out, that no, they're all going to be free. Sorry about messaging. They didn't message that correctly, but there may be added benefits in future seasons if you are a Fallout First subscriber, but the base season is available for everybody and will be a free thing, and you don't have to worry about it. So with that being said, I like that idea a lot, especially because they noted that the things that you're going to be accomplishing in the seasons are going to be things that you're more likely to be doing if you're just playing the game, rather than some of the random stuff that comes up in the challenges. Like, take a picture while underwater, like who takes, like, I don't think that's been a thing, but it's kind of ridiculous stuff like that. Like, you don't just go take a picture underwater while you're playing the game. You have to make a point to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it feels better if you are just knocking things out as they naturally occur by the things that you would normally do in the game anyway. That feels a lot more rewarding.
I also like, too, that the way this is going to be implemented is way better than the existing challenges, which you kind of have to hunt for.
Mm-hmm.
Even grinding for merit badges, you have to go to these weird sub menus under the world challenges, and you have to purposely go there to look, as opposed to just everything being centralized in either that computer that has no purpose that you can put in your camp, which it should be probably there, or they should be implemented in your Pip-Boy and under a separate menu maybe. But having a roadmap like this at least makes sure that you're working towards something. And I also get it from a business standpoint too. A lot of the negative YouTubers who are kind of turning this into yet another Fallout 76 rant. It's not an Abraxo box moment, but you have to remember that these people make money off negative video content. So there was a lot of obscenities in a video from one particular person. That, of course, he never apologized for when it became clear that, no, this isn't something you're going to have to pay for. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme for Bethesda. They don't need that. The challenge is it is unsustainable to generate content as quickly as we can consume it. Not when people take something like Wastelanders, which took as long as it did, and people got through that in days and are hungry for the next thing. At least with something like this, you have something to work towards. So it gives you a reason to log in and do something every day and have some kind of progression beyond just the vanilla game. So I think it makes sense from a business standpoint to keep people active, coming back to the game day after day in a way that you can use what's already there without them having to generate new content.
I like the idea of kind of having these seasons, I suppose. But I imagine in the focus group meeting, they got together and they were like, okay, we need to rethink how we're doing challenges. And somebody stood up and they said, okay, well, why don't we do like a season pass like Fortnite? And they were like, oh, that's a great idea. And then another guy stood up and they were like, hey, why don't we do shoots and ladders? And then a third guy stood up and they're like, let's do both. Why not?
Why not both? And then they all lifted him up and went, yay!
Yeah!
And carried him around the conference room. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's how I imagine that. One of the things, and I'm just kind of like, obviously the big piece of news that if you're big into the story, is the Brotherhood of Steel is coming back. But the other thing, and I'm just kind of looking over little things, including they're doing an official event for the Wendigo Colossus, which they've talked about before. Expeditions, I think, isn't really expounded upon. But what that leads me to believe, if they're doing these new repletable missions that are kind of, I guess, what they're thinking of for dungeons. If they're calling them expeditions, that means you're going somewhere. And you're most likely not going in Appalachia. And it creates an environment where it's like, okay, we can go other places, but make it like we don't have to make this open world. We can just make a dungeon, an instance, and kind of on a smaller scale that you would be able to go and see maybe a little part of Vegas or a little part of all these places that like New York or Houston. Like there's a Far Cry New Dawn, which was a post-apocalyptic shooter game, did that. So they had their map, and then they had these I forgot what they were called. I think they were actually called expeditions, where you would go out to other parts of America and do a big mission and get raided on it like a dungeon, and play through that, but then come back. I hope
there's a bus that like a Mama Murmurg drives or something.
Yeah. Can you imagine if she's a bus driver?
She's a bus driver, or you have some, and then you have like the NPC who's like the I don't know, the leader of the expedition who goes, Lisa, Jimmy, Po Boy, get on the bus. We're going on an expedition, and then everybody jumps on. Yeah,
that's what we call in West Virginia when you get on the Greyhound bus and go to New York for the weekend. New York,
or it would be kind of cool too if you had to repair a train, like in Metro Exodus. Get one of the trains working, and then you can go on the expedition.
That's true.
Check on out there. That would be kind of cool too.
That would be cool.
Or those crazy vehicles that the atomic built. Those Mad Max style vehicles.
Oh yeah.
Those raiders.
Like the free radicals.
Free radicals. Yeah.
Yeah, they put together.
Or what if somebody fixes up a vertibird? Then you can kind of go anywhere.
That's a good point.
Then it's like Halo, and I'm all down for that, And then they play the music, and you come in, and then we get warthogs, and that's when.
Yeah, I want I want like an animation of like you take off in the vertibird, and then the vertibird comes down in the new location, and like the sides open, and you and your three buddies are all in your power armor, and you jump out and go onto the ground, and you're like.
I mean, that's really. I just want another. I want another Brotherhood of Steel Tactics, but really more like XCOM, and that sounds a lot like what that is, and I really want that.
This has become something that's a completely different game.
We're just we're just. I want Sims, but Fallout, and you have to
go under the ocean to this underwater city. And you get chems that you can inject that give you powers. That would be awesome.
Yeah. And then there's a special power armor suit that looks a lot like an underwater diving suit and might have a drill on one of the hands.
But what if we had all of the different characters from all of the Fallouts, and then we just made like a 2D stage, and they all like fought together, and then every so often they would release like a new person from like Elder Scrolls, or from like it would be like a be like a smash up of these.
Yeah, and then they each have a core, and there's little monsters that move out from each core, and then you have to take over the other team's core, and then.
Well, you had these blocks dropping from the sky, like different shapes. And in order to survive, you had to like use telekinesis to kind of manipulate them into making a floor for you to walk on.
Yes. But then the floor disappears.
Right.
Yes. And then you stay alive.
Right. And now that you've got all of the different characters together, you can kind of ship them, and then you try to make everybody kiss.
Okay.
You can also find out that Preston Garvey is in another castle. So you have to keep going from world to world before you have to beat this big lizard thing.
I'm sorry, Preston Garvey's in another castle.
Yep.
And then there's these blocks that drop down, and you got to turn them. And then when you get a bunch in a row, then the Vault Boy comes out and gives you a thumbs up. This has been probably the craziest news segment of the entire run of the show, which really
and brilliant at the same time.
It's never be in a focus group.
It's quite something, yeah. I think there's like a little smidge of ADHD in all of us. Going back, let's take it on back. As far as Brotherhood of Steel or anything else, is there anything else that jumps out to you in this roadmap that you want to talk about? We're not going to go over every single thing.
I want to know about your thoughts about Brotherhood. Like,
Yeah.
excited about it?
Because this is huge.
Cool.
I mean, I think it's cool. I think you can't. And I said this. People were doubting. Back when I was doing Vault Boys, and I did Vault Boys before, like 76 came out, and people were doubting that the Brotherhood of Steel was going to be in the game. And I'm
Right,
like,
because they were like,
"Listen."
how's the story make sense and all that.
Right.
Right.
I was like, listen, you could this is branding. You cannot have a Fallout game and not have the Brotherhood of Steel. Like, you
Right.
can't make a Fallout game that doesn't have that. And people are going to be like, oh, well, I bet they will. They're not, because that's what's on the cover of every Fallout game is the power armor. Like, that
Right.
is what you see, and who's the one that wears the power armor? It's always the Brotherhood of Steel. So I'm not surprised. It's probably the most beloved faction, probably the longest run of a faction within the game, and so I'm not surprised they're bringing it back. Wouldn't be surprised if they brought back the Enclave with them in some form or fashion, but centered the story on Brotherhood of Steel, because I think now that they have this, like I've said before, they've built this foundation, and I think that once they have this like reputation system, they're going to put more factions in the game that have that reputation system. They'll probably have a gold dispensing machine, and at the end of the quest, you'll probably get like a, I don't know I don't even know what the Brotherhood of, like, you're going to get a big steel board, and that's going to be like your sword.
I just want my own vertibird.
Yeah,
I want to land at a queen fight, come out with like smoke and rockets, like WWF, old school.
Yeah.
I'm here, fellas.
Yeah. With some AC/DC playing,
Yes.
like Iron Man
Yep.
landing into battle. Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be great, and I think that is really gonna be set the stage for what an update is gonna look like. Like, in all seriousness, like, how is this game going to evolve? Like, they relayed the foundation for 76 with Wastelanders, and this is more like, okay, how do we build off that? Where do we go from here? How do we've made our playground? How do we play in it?
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm totally okay with the Brotherhood. I think that the lore around how does the Brotherhood connect is fine. A lot of people were upset with it. They're like, but there was no hint at anything ever being like that in the other Fallouts. And I was like, well, yeah, of course there wasn't, because they couldn't predict this potential game in the future. But that's fine. It's
Beyond
fine.
that, we're talking about a
Fine.
span of like 200 to 250 years in total that we've dabbled back and forth in. I think it's about that. And in a world that doesn't exactly teach reading, writing, much less have a lot of librarians around to document things, there's a lot of ways that lore and history can be adapted and stories that haven't been told.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. And you have to allow for that for future game development, because the people who were writing the story in the Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 had no way of knowing that Fallout 76 was ever going to be a thing. Like, you just can't plan for that.
I'm curious how they're going to evolve them, because I think how they have depicted factions within this game is kind of like their experience and understanding of what factions are within previous games. And so it's like, okay, like the Raiders have evolved from Nuka World into what they are in the Crater, where there's a lot more nuance. Same with kind of your general settler faction, like
not two-dimensional.
Right. And so it's like, okay, what is it going to, like, what's going to be that gray area for the Brotherhood of Steel? Like, the Brotherhood of Steel in 4 was more like, we're going to protect people and arm people, but we're also like really, really racist at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that was a dichotomy, whereas more now factions are kind of like skirting a line between two things. So I'm curious what that's gonna affect, and if Samuel really is an agent for the Brotherhood of Steel.
It would be interesting because of the timeline of Nuclear Winter.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not actually a simulation and those events do take place in the future based on our timeline, it'd be interesting to see if the end result of this somehow leads up to a fire that just engulfs Appalachia.
They're gonna call it like Scorch 2.0,
Or everybody's just in the what's the other mode where the fire happens?
Everyone looks like that dude from the Grand Canyon that's super religious, Joshua Graham. Yeah, everyone looks like him. Everyone's a mummy. Congratulations.
Everyone's a mummy.
I think that's it. I think that is it for news this week. I think that if we continue on with the segment, we don't know where we will end up and where we will go. So,
All right.
Madness.
All right. Well, it's time to transition then to Fallout 101. Do-do-do-do. That's my music for entering into Fallout 101.
that's a great. I mean, let's sign a record deal. Let's do it.
Do-do-do-do. Nobody's ever used those notes together in that order before.
I don't think so. I think you're spot on. This is some original creativity. This week, I know we've kind of covered a lot of builds. We've covered a few things in vending. We wanted to kind of break down how to do more complex events within 76. And I think Ken can kind of kick off and has had more experience in the group setting of how to best do some of these events. So let's kind of go through that. I'll hand it off to you, Ken.
Yeah. For veteran players, there are a lot of new players in the game. And there are two events that require planning and coordination. And if you don't listen to holotapes or pay attention to what the prompts are, you have no idea what you're doing, which is a frustration for veteran players who are there in a public event and for you to have no idea what's going on. And the first of which is the Imposter Sheep Squatch event. So when you go down there and you activate the terminal, if you haven't completed that quest yet and have no idea what's going on, when the Imposter Sheep Squatch comes, it has a it's an invulnerable shield. So don't waste ammo on it. There's nothing you can do to pierce it. I still see a lot of new players go down there and just kind of pepper it and are wasting ammo when the shields are still up. It requires some planning. When we run it, we have a few people in power armor who have energy resistance. They act as conduits. All three of the pylons have to be activated. When they're activated, the pylons will drain its shield and the Imposter Sheep Squatch becomes vulnerable. So if you're a bloody build, stay back while they do that. At that point, once the shield is down, you can get in there and start hacking and whacking and slashing that Imposter Sheep Squatch meat. Heavy gunners or snipers, VATS critical builds are great for going on top of the cabin and taking care of some of the bots or the exploding Mr. iBots that come in from a distance to keep them away from the bloody builds and the center point of the map there. Once you take its shield down and you do that coordination, it does not take very long to kill that thing. But it's most people don't know what they're doing when they get to that event. They just see an event pop up, but they may not have done that quest line yet, and they're wondering, one, why they can't do damage, and two, no one activates the pylons.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's harder because you don't have a lot of the high level players are doing blood eater junkies, and so you don't have people that are really putting into a tank build, and that's kind of what you need to be very you can still do it without that, but to be very efficient at it, that's kind of what you need. And so that's kind of hard to find, I suppose.
Yeah, because the pylons, of course, do energy damage, and the few times that I've acted as a bloodied build, it's pointless because I die within less than a minute. That's one event. The other event is the Arctos Pharma event. Going to that event, there are 3 different environments, 2 different testing areas. And once you start the event, it's going to prompt you to put food into the machine, different resources from each room. There is albino radstag in one. There is algae in the second. And I'm missing one. What's the third one? It's the algae, the
marijuana,
and marijuana. Sure, is in the third one. Mm-hmm. I never run the third one, so whatever that one is. In each of those environments, you have to quickly gather those resources. You can tell what the resources are because they're glowing. In the other 2 rooms, with the exception of the albino radstags, they're glowing like this orangey color. So you want to grab those resources as quickly as possible and put them right into the feeder. You're time limited on this. You get a better drop table if you can complete the events, or at least complete the event in one of the rooms if there's not enough people there to do them all. Once you do that, then it will generate a friendly creature that you have to protect at all costs. If you didn't fill the machine to capacity, you'll get a low-level creature that won't have a lot of HP and will die very easily. So you want to try and get a creature that has a decent amount of health, which also affects the drop table for what you get. If you want like the stim pack diffuser plan, you want to complete the event at the highest possible stuff in the machines, and then also make sure that your creatures survive. When the imposter sheep squat shows up, it is a tank. It is brutal, especially for bloody builds to try and kill. So expect that fight to take a little bit. While you're fighting it, the animals must be kept alive. If they die while you're fighting the sheep squatch, then the test event fails, and that's kind of it. But that's another event that takes some coordination. If you go in with a team and do it, it works perfectly. We've been able to complete it every time we've played, but it's because we're communicating in Discord and talking. You kind of need voice to talk to people in that event.
The one event that I've run into where you kind of need that, I guess, voice element is the Radiation Rumble. I have not been able to do that with a random group.
Another one. Yeah, you have to go in with a team, because doing it random, if people aren't in designated areas doing specific things, there's just no way you can do it without coordination. It's like the difference in Nuclear Winter. If you play through a Nuclear Winter and you go in with a team that everyone has a mic and you can coordinate strategy, and the few times that we've won, it's been a team that everyone has a mic. Otherwise, it's hard for everyone to kind of plan.
Yeah. So go find friends. I think that's the whole point, right?
Yeah, they're going to be enabling a find a party system in the game to help people find people to run with and play with. But also, again, if you're looking for people in any of the Fallout groups, just ask if there's a Discord out. You can easily find people to run with.
Cool. Good tips. Yeah, this game is very different when you have people to play with. And I get it. Like, I get the whole appeal of, well, I traditionally play Fallout alone. I'm going to do this alone. And there's a lot of great content you can do alone. And I primarily play the game alone. But if you haven't taken the step out to just kind of meet some other people and get out there and put a microphone on, it completely changes the way the game works. And you don't have to play like that all the time. But I don't know. Some people get nervous about it. But I would recommend. I'd kind of give them a little bit of a push and say, go try. Go try making friends.
Yeah,
it's
like
fun.
On Wednesdays and Thursdays, we'll do a Discord party in our server, and we'll usually do some stuff that's scheduled, and then some fun party games. Like when Tom joined us this week, we were doing 2 Truths and a Lie, and that was a lot of fun. Just a different experience.
Yeah, go look up either of our Twitch streams have that video still in the video section, and you can kind of scan through to where we're all sitting down in a room and you can see us. And I don't know there's like 8 or 9 of us that we go around the circle and we just play this game, and it's super fun. Like, it's super funny, and people come up with funny things and you learn weird stuff about each other, and it was great. It was a really fun time.
Sounds like you're emotionally scarred from that, the way you're talking about that, but that's all I'm saying.
It was fine. It was totally fine.
It's fine. It's good. I'm dying inside. Somebody help.
All right. Any other 101 tips we want to leave him with? Nothing else?
It's eventful.
Good.
Cool. All right. Well, let's move on. Holy crap, somebody else just popped into our call.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Adam?
Hey.
Do you guys know? Do you guys know Adam? Who's Adam?
I know Adam. What are you doing here?
Well, I followed your transmission. You guys didn't have a password.
Crap!
Dave. That was specifically on your to-do list. 1, 2, 3, 4 is not a good Wi-Fi password.
Right, and Fallout Show is not good either. Or, geez, you can't use Fallout Hub as the password. That's not good either. We need an actual encrypted password. Anyway, hi Adam. Welcome.
Hello.
We're in the middle of recording our show. Thank you for hacking in.
Oh, I'm glad I made it on time.
Yeah, you're perfect timing. I was talking about my boat pants. This is
Oh,
not
pants.
embarrassing at all.
Good,
So,
good.
anyway, so introduce yourself. I'm sure there are people who are watching our podcast right now wondering who this Adam guy is.
Hi, I'm Adam. I am a modder for Fallout games and some others as well. And right now, my big project is actually Empire Waste, where it's a New York mod.
Ooh, I've heard of that one.
Ooh, yeah. So I had an episode on the Fallout Lorecast recently, where actually just a few months ago, where I chatted with a bunch of my patrons, and we were speculating really cool locations for future Fallout projects.
Mhm.
And one of the big ones was New York, and then people were talking about the mod that you're working on. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's a Fallout 4 mod. It's actually a follow-up to my Fallout 3 mod, um, which took place. So I don't know if you guys know the location, but New York City is very close to New Jersey, and I live in New Jersey. And the Fallout 3 mod took place in New Jersey with the intention of like, oh, you're gonna go to New York, but you end up not being able to. So this is actually a part 2 where you actually do make it to New York.
Oh wow! So it's like a
Cool.
mod sequel.
Yeah, kind of, but I also made
Cool.
it so that if you hadn't played it, there's no negative effect. So, because it actually takes the Sole Survivor. It's not a new game. So if you play as that, then it's not the same as the Lone Wanderer. So you should be able to play without.
Very cool. Very cool. So
Because
what's? Oh,
like
sorry,
the
go ahead.
original Fallout 4 team originally was going to set that game in New York.
Hmm.
They got as far as designing a whole look and design document for it that they still have on file. So maybe they'll do something with that at some point, which would be kind of cool. But it's awesome that they were going to do something there and then ended up being Boston.
Yeah,
So
I
what
know.
is? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I know that they had mentioned they liked Boston because they had more freedom. Because a lot of New York is very old, so it's pre-Divergent, so it would have been very similar, and they didn't want to keep it too similar to what it actually was. So Boston is mostly newer buildings with historical, little areas, but not the full thing.
Cool. So what is the scope of this mod? I mean, I'm sure people are thinking New York. That's especially if you're talking New York City, that's a big place. Manhattan, all the boroughs.
Yeah, it's quite big. It's all of Manhattan up until 125th Street, which is basically Harlem,
Wow.
and a little bit of Queens, a little bit of Brooklyn, and a little bit of New Jersey. Just
Massive world space.
yeah, it's just quite big. I'm
It was.
focusing now on Manhattan. If I can finish Manhattan, then I'll add in the other parts, but that's definitely planned.
Wow. So I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but are you modeling buildings? Are you modeling rubble? Is the Central Park part of it? What does this look
So
like?
Central Park is part of it. All of Manhattan, like I said. So Manhattan was definitely a target for China during the Great War. So there's a sort of glowing sea in a specific area. Um, and the further you get from that, the less destroyed it is. So Harlem, which is the furthest, is still intact. Um, there is no south tip.
Oh
so
gosh.
it varies. So there is areas that are still built up, and then there's areas that are completely destroyed, and everything in between.
Battery
Wow.
Park, more like blown up park.
That was a good joke.
That's what I'm here for.
So okay, so you have New York modeled clearly a long time after the war.
Mhm.
What's going on in New York? Like what kinds of creatures, groups of people? What are we going to come up against in this?
So one of the things that I wanted to add with this was more of a sense of rebuilding, because it's still 210 years after the war. Um, and I feel like, especially in an area like Manhattan, it wouldn't just be individuals, that there would be groups and societies. And a lot of the pre-war neighborhoods would have that sort of pride in their area that they would create their own almost gated communities. Um,
Yeah.
so a bunch of these neighborhoods basically as groups, some with physical walls, some just as known as the area, and then they all interact. So different ones fight, different ones trade. For the most part, there's a stability. There's no we're about to die feeling, but they're all in a position where if that stability was to go one way or the other, they would all feel the effects. It's not just a single, oh, I helped Harlem, now Harlem's cool, but everybody else is the same. Everything would change.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, can you drop any specific names for any of these groups, or do you have like specific groups of people that they represent in the real world that are kind of carried over? Like, who would we recognize?
So depending on how well you know New York and the city in itself, there's, like I said, a lot of the neighborhoods are the same. So we have Bellevue, we have Morningstar, we have Harlem and East Harlem. There's Yorkville. There's one of the areas is Chinatown. Chinatown is quite far south. It's actually within the blast radius, and that area is still Chinatown, but it's mostly destroyed and also highly irradiated. You have some new areas, and I tried to keep it with the Fallout aesthetic of taking a name that was a name but breaking it. Like the old NYU campus is the New York University, and it's now called NYU, which is just a bastardization of the NYU
That's awesome.
pronunciation.
Yeah.
There's another area called Tri-Sci, which is actually an area that in real life I work. It's the tri-institutional area where it's Rockefeller University, Cornell University, and Memorial Sloan Kettering. So the three of them
thought it
have
was
a
a
high.
fraternity or sorority with the tri-sci.
I say bye.
But so they're specified in like scientific advancements. So each area has something that they have and have not. So it's not just everybody's self-sufficient. They kind of have to trade, because someone's got water, someone's got ammo, someone's got food, someone's got a place to sleep. One of the places is Bellevue Hospital. It's a really big area that's now basically like a dictatorship. The people who own the hospital created a sort of scam, almost, in the sense that they're charging people for services at the hospital, and they do work. So like you can get medicine
Oh.
from the hospital, but you're gonna have to pay out the butt. And they also have armed guards, so it's not like you can just go in and take it.
So it's basically our current medical system, just plus armed guards.
Yep, exactly.
Got it.
Life imitating art, imitating.
Man, there's a lot of thought. You put a lot of thought into all of this and how all the different groups connect and what's going on in the world. One of the other big draws for Fallout games are, of course, the creatures and monsters you come across. I'm assuming we're going to come across some ghouls and some super mutants.
Mhm.
Are there any specialized creatures, any new creatures that you've added into this, or are you taking current variants and kind of mixing it up a little bit?
I haven't added in anything yet. I plan on doing so. I know.
Idea for you.
What you got?
Pigeons in New York are
Oh,
a
God.
menace. Give us
Oh.
mutated pigeons; they would be terrifying.
I was actually thinking about pigeons as a thing to add. I was gonna do
Awesome.
it more like the seagulls and crows, but I
Yep.
kind of wanted them to have more of a aggressive nature than just flying away when you get close.
Hey, could you imagine
Yeah.
if flocks of them, like bees in Fallout 76, just kind of chase you?
Right, or they had like
That
irradiated poop.
Birds.
They just irradiated poop
Oh,
bombed you. Just
that
Yeah.
would be hilarious.
Now I'm
Yeah.
imagining the lady from Home Alone 2, that has all of the.
Yeah.
Oh
she opens a
no,
cup.
she'd be some kind of mongoloid creature.
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic Easter
Oh.
egg.
That would be cool.
Oh.
That's a good idea.
So another idea that comes to mind is I was going to ask you about the subway and if that's modeled in the
Mhm.
game, and if that's in the game, then you could have like subway, like crazy subway people
Mhm.
that live down underground.
Yeah, like the
There's
subway in Fallout 3 was so iconic. So many people loved that space.
mhm. Yeah, I'm doing the subway, not the full thing, obviously, but a lot of
Still a
it.
lot there.
There's a lot of yeah.
And I'm trying also to avoid using the exact Boston models, trying to keep it a unique experience. Um, I had done kind of like a proof of concept beforehand with a few of the stations, but using the mostly just the Boston models, but I'll move on for that. But there's actually going to be a society called the USBs, the Underground Society of the Blighted, and it's ghouls
Oh,
basically who
man.
are hiding underground so that they don't have to face people above ground.
Yeah, makes sense. Seems
That's
like
awesome.
a perfect place for them to be building a society.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this kind of stuff, I absolutely love the work that people put into mods, and I talk about the same thing with artists, but also creative programmers and people who can get into this stuff because these are skills that I've never developed for myself, and I think that it's amazing the amount of work that goes into it, the amount of creativity, the amount of thought, the amount of care. How did you get into modding? Is this something that you've done in your like regular work life and you're bringing it into a hobby, or is this just a hobby for you?
It's been a hobby since middle school, actually. My my friend got me into a program called Game Maker, where you can make 2D games, and I would, make my own version of Pokemon, make my own version of Zelda. Um, just go around and do things or do a 1943 style shooter flyer, and then from there I continued on and got into video games, got my own computer, started to modify some of the older games, and one of the games that I liked was Civilization. And
Mhm.
using Civilization, I learned Python on coding. So
Wow.
I learned a lot of like the basics, which the same logic travels no matter what language you're using. So once you learn the logic, all you have to do is learn the lingo. Um, so from there, I was able to mod other games, and then once Fallout 3 came out, um, I fell in love with the game fully. Um, and once I realized that there was a creation kit, uh, that was like immediate. Like I want to do this, and then I just moved on from there, and I've basically stuck with that since then.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool that you started in middle school. I remember some of my friends getting involved with that kind of stuff in middle school and high school. I had a friend who was hacking his like TI whatever calculator
Yep.
in order to create like his own little Final Fantasy battles.
Mhm.
And I remember specifically there was a really dorky girl that was like super into him, and he was really dorky too. So I don't know why he wasn't into her, but he didn't like her, and so she became one of the enemies. And
Oh.
her Samantha would attack you in the game, and she'd like sneeze at you. That was her attack. So yeah, so
Did
that's
you
really
just
cool.
live Scott Pilgrim? Was that just your reality?
This is my friend, but hopefully I wasn't in the game. I don't
Well-
remember myself being modeled into it.
Maybe you're a shopkeeper or
If
something.
you're out there, we hope you found somebody.
Yeah. Hope Samantha's doing okay.
Yeah. I thought Samantha was cool. I was like, why do you have a problem with Samantha? And he's like, she sneezes on you, man. I don't know. So that's really cool. I'm another anecdote. My son is turning 10 and he's very into games, and I'm trying to keep him creatively exploring how to do things productively, you know. If you were a kid right now, what would you recommend somebody to start with?
Well,
Get into modding.
I've got a godson around the same age, and I've been giving him gifts that are all, science-based, computer-based. One of the things I just sent over, actually, just for no reason, was it's like a game, but it connects based off of the logic for coding. So you want to get to a certain point
Yes. Right.
by connecting the different things together. So that was an easy way for him to get into the mindset of it without actually having to sit down and learn coding.
Yeah,
When,
that's very
when I
cool.
was a kid, they had this. It was like an online game where you were you were a hacker. You weren't actually like it was all a game, just whatever. But you had to learn some of the, I guess, the actions that a lot of coding does. So when I got to doing Python in college, a lot of that knowledge was in long-term memory, and it started coming back to me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how they do it. This is that these basic actions I understand. So it's funny how those things can kind of evolve as you go through the years, and even if you lose that, like if you stop doing it for a little bit, it comes back to you.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing was I went to college for engineering,
Mhm.
and you use a lot of coding for engineering as well. But when I was a freshman, I was learning a language that is the equivalent to the language of Sanskrit, where it's no longer used. No one knows what it is.
Holy
So
crap.
What's the name of that? I had to take some of that too.
I don't even
Is
remember.
it like math? It's something that has math in it, right?
Yeah, and like I was doing this on an Oracle computer, and I was
Yeah.
just like, what is this?
Yep.
So even beyond our own use, just the technological advances, sometimes things just die off. But having the background, that logic bridge is important.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Mhm.
Do you guys have any other questions about the mod itself or about modding games? I think we've covered everything. Nobody else has any other questions. What?
Well,
So I can go on. I've got other questions if you guys don't.
I think Dave has.
Just give me a second. I was trying to look up what the language was, but no rest for the wicked here. Let's see. As far as so you said that you were working with Game Maker's Toolkit. I've used a little bit of that. So my question more in the mod world would be in comparison and kind of learning that the jump from here to there. What's the benefit like in terms of like just scope of a hobby or just creating stuff, working within like a mod version of Fallout 4, as opposed to working with something like Unity or Unreal?
Um, as a modder, there's
Hmm.
really not much of a benefit. The major benefit is that everything is already existing. You don't have to make your own assets.
Hmm.
Um, so you at least have like a foothold. But like using Unity, you would definitely have much more freedom to do what you want. Uh, my big thing, but for using the creation kit is one, I like Fallout.
Right.
Like I like it, but I also like the community, and having a tie to Fallout is also a tie to the community. So if I go on to Nexus or if I go on to Bethesda.net, I know people are going to see this.
Yeah.
Whereas if
Hmm.
I make something off of Unity and I just self promote it I might not get much.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So, is your motivation behind this? Is it mostly just to give back to the community and to be involved with the community that does this, or are you looking potentially for some long-term employment with a company like Bethesda in order to do something official?
Like that would be cool, but that's not why I'm
Said
doing
by Todd.
it.
I mean, we had a hard time getting rid of Uncle Pete, but maybe we should have left him around here long enough to, chat with you. He did take all my dandy boys. You guys didn't eat those, right? Uncle Pete.
They definitely did not.
Oh
They are well past their expiration date.
man, they were still good. They last forever, guys.
They should be. They were applesauce.
Oh
So
my god. Oh.
applesauce.
Thank
So
you. I'm here all week.
But,
but you would enjoy working for a company like Bethesda and doing some official content?
yeah, that would be really cool, although that's not really why I got into it. I got into it because, like, I like a lot of the content creators on YouTube and now Twitch, and I
Mhm.
basically want to give back to them, give them something new, because I know a lot of people are so going back to my previous mod when I made it for Fallout 3. I was just kind of making it. By the time I started really getting into it, Fallout New Vegas had already come out, and I
Mhm.
was getting mostly done. There was some polish I needed to finish, but all of a sudden they announced Fallout 4, And I had noticed that, people had already jumped ship from 3 to New Vegas a lot, and I knew that if I waited too long and now there's Fallout 4 and I make Fallout 3 mod, no one's gonna play it. So, I kinda rushed that out to kinda get it to people, so 'cause, people don't really have as much of a reason to play Fallout 3 anymore.
Sure.
And now with Fallout 76, I see a lot of people jumping ship from 4 to 76, which is cool. I love 76, but also I want to, make mods, and I can't make mods for 76. So
Right. Right.
Not yet, anyway.
not yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully
So do
soon.
you do this all on your own? Is this like a solo project all the time, or do you ever get other people in the community to kind of contribute or help?
So I'd say it's like 90-ish% me. I do the world space definitely. I've got a few people who help with 2D and 3D art, so some custom weapons, custom models, things like that, custom advertisements. And once in a while, I'll talk with people regarding the planning. So, I've got an entire island to fill with lore. I can't make it necessarily all by myself.
Mhm.
So they come in on occasion, and then of course, once I get to the level of quest making, and once I start making people, definitely I'm not voicing everybody in New York. So that'll definitely be a lot
Why
of
does
help.
everybody in New York sound the same?
What if that's the gimmick? What if that's like
All New Yorkers have the same voice.
right?
No offense, New Yorkers.
A mystery is afoot.
Born survivor, and he had to repopulate by any means. Gary.
Yeah, New York is just the Gary Vault all over again.
It's just a successful Gary.
Yeah. Yeah. So as the community, like I'm kind of like looking from the outside in to what you're doing. And I know I've downloaded plenty of mods and installed them and tried them out. From our perspective, what's the best thing we can do if we really enjoy your mods? Like if we're like if we want to give back, you know what I'm saying? Like if we want to give back to Fallout 76, then we'll buy things on the shop. We'll go, okay, I want to contribute to this. I want to give them more money to keep making the things that I like. But when it comes to modding, so much of it is free. We just kind of go on to, Nexus or wherever and download and install it and go, oh, this is fun. And we might tell our buddy that we're playing it. But there isn't really a built-in support structure
Mhm.
for giving back to modders. What would be the best thing that we can do to support your efforts to really show appreciation, to get it out there more? What do you think we can do to help?
I do know that on Nexus, they implemented a thing now where for the number of people who download your mods, you get like a certain number of points, and then you can redeem those points for something. I haven't really looked
Cookies,
into that.
Candy Boys.
Something yummy. But honestly, for in my perspective, like the best way to give back is just like kind of acknowledgement. So word of mouth is huge. Telling other people so that other people can see it. Also, when a lot of these larger projects have, Facebooks or Twitters or Discords, and having people active and replying and actually interacting with it, it gives you much more of a motivation to continue. Because if I work on this for weeks on end but no one knows about it, it's kind of disheartening.
Right.
um,
Yeah.
and
Totally. It's a lot
especially
of work.
yeah, but just something as simple as seeing people excited to see the work that I'm doing is enough to motivate me to do more. um,
Hmm.
and then also me seeing other teams work also motivates me, so that's good too.
Yeah. I want to support these things, and we are all content creators, right? We're all making things, and we're all doing it pretty much for free, at least on the basic level of what we're doing. And I think that's one of the hardest things is you put all this effort and time into it, and especially when it's something that can get proliferated, like a really awesome mod can get downloaded by thousands of people,
Mhm.
right? And you're not making a cent off of that. But to be able to say like, hey, this guy did an awesome job and get that out there. I think it would also be cool if streamers were streaming the mod and
Yeah,
diving back in, and that there was a support structure out there among other content creators to get behind that and show up in the streams and talk about it, and kind of elevate that, because ultimately we're all benefiting more from awesome content
Yes.
So the more we can promote that and get that out there, the more everybody benefits. So
Mhm.
it's just one of those things I'm always wondering about. Like, there's got to be a better way to support content creators who are doing really, really cool stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, and also if you notice, a team, they might have either on their Twitch, they might have donations, or if they have some type of Patreon or something. That's always good, but it's never in my mind. It's never like required that you do that, but that's always something that if you can give, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, everyone wants to be able to buy an extra cup of coffee, like that's nice. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, for sure.
So one
Dave,
of the
did you have
questions,
any others?
yeah,
Sorry.
I have
Go ahead.
another question. So looking at, so this is a big project, and you're working on it as a passion project. And I know that when I work on a passion project, so like doing a music album or something like that, you start to write these things and you kind of like iterate upon it, and you kind of get going on, okay, I'm writing this song, I've got the basics for this song. Okay, maybe 2 months later it's going to look a little different. Okay, maybe like a year later it's going to be totally different,
Mhm.
to a point where you kind of from my perspective, like, you're never happy with like exactly what you have, especially if you're passionate about it. Like if you're working
Yeah.
on something creatively for yourself, how do you scope, I guess, goals for yourself? And is there a point where, like, is there some sort of line where you say, okay, it's finished enough, I know that I'm going to keep on working on it, but is there like a point where it's like, okay, this I think is good to go?
So personally, I have a very scattered-brained kind of personality.
Hmm.
If you, so I had actually released a a really early stage of the map for people to kind of test around. And
Hmm.
if you look at the map and you actually play it, it's, you know, a whole bunch of buildings and then nothing, 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 and then a whole bunch of buildings and then nothing, nothing, nothing. And you can kind of see where I like would jump around,
Right.
and that became not sustainable. So I kind of had to sit myself down. I really worked through like the design document for myself, where it's like, okay,
Hmm.
these are everything I want to do, and now let's do it systematically. And I've kind of started doing that now, where I I'm like, okay, I'm starting here, and I can't leave here until I'm done. Uh, um, and I have like a in my mind, certain things I want to have finished. I don't want anything floating. I don't want,
Hmm.
too much empty space. So trying to keep everything together without
I'm
overdoing it
smiling
either.
because we've seen stuff floating in 76.
Yeah, right.
Actually, that's a weird experience now for me to play 4 or 76, and I see a wall that is one side, but on the other side doesn't exist or something like that, and it's like, I would have caught that. But, but, yeah, so I try to keep myself balanced enough, but it it's really against my nature, so we'll kinda see how long that lasts.
So how do you deal with burnout? Because I'd imagine that, I mean, I get burnout on podcasting, on music, on the heck listening to Green Day.
Yeah.
Like how do you deal with that? Like what's
Listening
the
to Green Day.
yeah? There's a lot of
Yeah,
Green Day in
yeah,
this
totally.
house.
Totally, I agree.
So
Such great day you can listen to.
Hey, our concert got pushed off for a year because of the Rona situation. So.
The Rona.
But, yeah, I definitely get burnt out sometimes,
Mhm.
especially if I, don't do anything else, and that's kind of something I've learned where it's like, sometimes I just need to step back and do something completely different. Don't work on my mod, do something else, or j watch other people, because a lot of times I'll get inspired by other people's work, um, but usually it's just if I see myself starting to burn out, I'd rather take a day or 2 off and then come back refreshed than go for the next week at half power, you know?
Mhm. So you talked about looking at other people's mods. Are there like, I mean, I'm sure that there are, but what are some like small or large mods? Not, I mean, even for Fallout, but even greater than that, that you're a big fan of.
Um, for me, anything that introduces um, kind of quest or lore mechanics
Mhm.
is a big plus for me. So anything that's a quest or a follower that's voiced and has its own story, or a new world mod, something like Forville came out recently, and I really liked that. That was really cool. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I'm not familiar with it. No, what
Mm-mm.
is it?
It's made by a mod author called 74494, and it's a Vault 4, and a little society has grown outside the closed vault, and you introduce yourself to the society, you kind of integrate yourself, and then there's more lore and more interior cells and things. So it brings in a lot to the game. So that's
I think Juice had covered that in one of the videos because that feels very familiar to how you described it.
I think he
I think
did.
it was in the video where he was talking about new world spaces, new mods that are in development or just launched. But yeah,
I'll tell you what, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna take a shot every time we mention Pete Hines or Juice Head, and that's gonna be the game that we play from here on out.
A shot of Pete Ox juice.
Yeah,
I was trying to remember.
Oh.
I was sitting there. I was like, Pete
There it
Ox,
is.
Pete Juice Ox
Oh,
juice.
man.
That was it. Yeah.
Oh man, I wouldn't say it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the gift that just won't die.
So do you have a like a final release date in mind for this?
So I'm definitely still like pre-alpha. I don't have a complete world space built up. I think once I have the majority of the world space finished, I'll have an idea of how long it'll take until I release. Because there's a bit of an order that works best when making a mod like this. If you try to make your quests first, using items or whatever, but then you add more items and you change things around, the quest kind of breaks. So it's easiest if you make your area first, then you
world
add your
space.
people, then you add the dialogue, and then you add the quests. So kind of like a segmented building. But the majority of the time right now is me building that space.
Have you ever, speaking of like people and quests and things, have you ever hidden Easter eggs in about like certain people or events or anything?
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs. There's going to be a lot of like pre-war lore. There's going to be a lot of references that people won't get because it's like to a friend or something.
Nice.
Is there gonna be like a bodega and then like a Mirelurk comes out the back and he's like, you know,
and he has boat pants.
Yep.
Boat pants. Boat pant. Yeah, Mirelurks are boat people.
I actually have a few references to streamers, a few references to YouTubers, things like that as well. So that'll be good to find.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. All right.
I'm
gonna have to
rifle gaming.
when this comes out, we're gonna need to get back with you and hear about some of the stuff that people have or haven't found yet.
Sure.
That would be awesome.
You did say so that some parts of it right now are playable by people, like people could go around and tinker with it.
Yeah, so I had released a version of the map to have people kind of go through and make sure, because I know what I'm looking for, so it's easy for me to overlook things. So I had a few people go through and give with fresh eyes, make sure nothing's floating, nothing's broken, nothing's flickering. So I have that up on the Nexus.
That's cool. Yeah, I guess I would imagine it's very important because Q&A is obviously a big part of game development. And
Yeah.
the more you look at something, the more familiar you are with it. And then it's hard to see the things that you're missing.
Yeah.
I have that problem all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very human thing, right? You kind of, in fact, I will replay a game and subconsciously make the same decisions.
Yep.
Even if it's like years later, I'll go back and I'll be like, wait a minute. I did this exactly the same order last time. Oh, crap. Like I meant to do this in a way that I'd see something different. But here I am just having the same experience all over again because I just subconsciously make the same decisions.
I know I almost always do like the good guy playthrough. And every time I start, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make bad guy. And I meet my first person. I'm like, I can't be mean.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I feel bad for this guy. Oh, crap.
See, that's the one thing that as far as writing in games, like I think people don't want to be the bad guy, but I'm perfectly capable of being a smartass.
Yeah.
And so if that's like the negative playthrough, that's what I want to go for. And some of the stuff in 76, it's like like the first people you meet, there's some like real like smarmy things you can say to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went for that. I was like, oh, cool. I get to be me.
Oh man, that's funny.
I know that in Fallout 4, it did feel like you were a little railroad into the good guy mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there really wasn't a necessarily terrible bad guy that you like, this is definitely the bad guy and I'm definitely the good guy. So no matter where you went, you're still kind of in that good guy-ish mindset.
Yeah, we really
Um,
didn't get that kind of negative experience until Nuka World, in which case you could just be a total bastard and tear down what you built.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to say next was it kind of felt the exact opposite where I felt railroaded into being a raider. I couldn't play Nuka World as a good guy without killing all of the raiders, just at once. So
Right.
I'm trying to keep a balance of that. So
Mhm.
keeping in mind like some people are going to be dicks and they're not going to do that all the time. Maybe, with a certain environment they'll be more friendly and a certain environment they won't. So I'm trying to give people that option to go one way or the other and not only one.
Mhm.
What was the game? It was called Tyranny. It was a computer RPG.
Yes, where you have to be bad.
Yeah, you have to be bad. And
Yeah.
it was the difference of being like very orderly and bad or being very chaotic and bad. I thought that was really creative.
You're only on that part of the D&D chart. You're only on
Yeah.
the bottom row.
Yeah,
You
you're
don't get
bottom
to
row.
go
That's
above
it.
in it. Yeah. That's funny. Oh crap, I had another question, but it fell out of my brain. It'd be
So
cool
like
Sorry, go ahead.
talking about writing and kind of, you said that you've brought people in to kind of like plan out that kind of stuff. What does a dialogue system look like for you? And are you using like VOs? Like you said that you're not gonna like voice every single person, but like,
Right.
do you have people in mind, or is it more like a tryout process? What's the kind of idea for really from taking your writing from stage one to final product?
Dave's trying to get into the project if you have
Yeah, well, no, if they can just like listen, I've got
Starts
the West
again.
Virginia
I'll
accent.
take it from here.
So at the current stage,
Mhm.
like I had mentioned, I'm mostly focused on the world space.
Right.
I did make a few characters, kind of like a proof of concept, just to
Mm.
fill in as needed. And for those people, I kind of relied on people I know. Some people who are have that skill more than others, so I would ask them to help out.
I think
Um,
Bethesda did the same thing with 76 where they trapped Todd Howard in the secret room.
But once I get to once I get to the point where I need like the full city to start being voiced, that's where
Mm.
I'll
Expand.
open that floodgate when it gets there.
Cool.
So that would be a lot. That would be a lot of content to have to record.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that with enough interest, there'll be enough voice actors that'll be able to help. Because I also would like to try to avoid having one person voice like 20 different people, if I
Yeah,
can
and then
help
it feels
that.
like Oblivion.
Yeah.
Right. And then if all of your pedestrians, you're walking down the street and all of them are like, "Hey, I'm walking here."
That was a perfect accent. You should hire
Like
Dave.
a young Christopher Walken. That was good.
Yeah.
I need more cowbell.
So, I guess we're getting close to the end of this conversation because I feel like we're starting to run out of some questions. But are there any other projects that you currently have out that you're like super super proud of that you would if somebody wanted to try something out that you've worked on right now, you would say go check out this project.
The original Fallout 3 project is probably one of my most proud ones. It's Into the Ark, where you go to Newark, New Jersey. Uh, Although, like I had mentioned, I kind of rushed it once they announced Fallout 4, so that it's not as polished as I'd like it to be, but it's still fully functional. It's not voiced, unfortunately, but at least the quest is there, the world space is there. You can go there and come back, so it's fully done. If you don't have Fallout 3, I have a Fallout 4 mod. It's very very tiny, maybe like 5-10 minutes. It's called Old Print Shop. and
Oh, yeah.
it's a little bit of a teaser for the upcoming mod and one of the arcs that you'll find in the story. And it was also actually a little bit of a tribute to my dad, who worked in a print shop, so in
Oh, cool.
Massachusetts. So
That's cool.
Very cool. If people wanted to get involved and help out, especially if you had, I know there's a burgeoning community of people who want to get into voice acting and that kind of thing. What's the best way for them to reach out to you? Are you open to people coming or just trying to make contact with you and saying, "Hey, I'm available for something"? Or
I'm definitely open, but like I had said, like right now I'm not really looking, but I will be. So if
right?
they wanted to reach out and kind of make that connection, that's definitely great. The easiest way is to message me either on Twitter or Facebook, where I have the Empire Wastes social media, or if they join the Discord, they can just post in there as well.
Okay, and that's all the Empire Wastes.
Mhm,
So at the Empire Wastes on Twitter,
mhm.
the Empire
Yeah, we'll
Wastes
post them in the show
Discord.
notes for you.
Sure, yeah.
Cool, cool, very cool stuff. I mean, just to kind of wrap this up, thanks for doing all the work that you do,
Thank you.
because it's part of what keeps this community going and coming back to these games, even when they've played through the game 10 times already and seen all the contents. I know I get excited whenever there's something new coming out and the community's kind of buzzing about it.
Mhm.
And I'm sure it's a lot of work. I mean, for the amount of time that many of us spend playing these games, you're spending a good portion of that same period of time working on something.
Yeah.
So it's a big commitment.
Yeah, I recently started playing Fallout 76, but I get into it, and I brought my friends into it also, and I was level 60 or something, and they started from the beginning, and now they've completely surpassed me because I don't put as many hours into the actual game anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I completely relate to that. There are,
That feels.
I'm working on 5 different podcasts, so
Yeah.
and YouTube content. So I'm constantly, I'll sit down in an evening and I'll be like, I got some time to play, and
Mhm.
then there's this little voice in the back of my head that's going, but I could knock out that next thing on my list I wanted to do, you know, and sometimes I have to balance that, and
Yeah.
it's tricky, it's tough.
Yep. It does pull into that, what we were mentioned before, where it's the balance to not burn out as well. So sometimes it's like I could continue work, but I should probably take a break.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Guys, have any other last questions?
No, nothing I think of.
Okay. Well, thanks for hacking into
Yeah.
our call. We'll make a
Thanks for hacking, man.
thanks for hacking in. We're gonna have to double down on our encoding and our passwords.
Yeah. Hopefully next time you actually have a password, and you can always tell me what that password is.
Yeah, we'll invite you in. We'll give you a special way to log into our call the next time while we're socially isolating still, because I think we're forever going to be stuck in this vault.
2020 is canceled.
We're both security.
Yeah. Yeah. We still don't understand how the door works. Other people just come in and out and we're just stuck in here. So we're really good at this technology thing. So awesome. Well, thanks, Adam.
Thank you for having me, and enjoy your boat pants.
I will. And we'll see you around on the internet, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
See
Bye,
ya.
Adam.
And cut. And he left. And he's just done.
I'm here.
Cool.
Oh, he's still here. And he's still here. But he's invisible.
He's invisible now.
He was invisible.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm gonna read. I need to stretch. I need to do a stretch every day so that my shoulders don't get sore. Because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
Jesus Christ.
Because Jesus. Okay, yeah.
He's hurting my shoulders.
Jesus
My
Christ.
shoulders.
Superstar. Who are you? Where are you? What you are? I had to do that when I was the drum major in high school band. We did a Jesus Christ Superstar show, and I wore a sequence vest, and I had to direct all that, and I had a routine.
You have pictures?
That is interesting. Yeah, I do.
You should have
Yeah,
pictures.
I have video.
Dave's like, I have all of the pictures.
I have video. I have
I have
pictures.
a shrine.
Let me tell you something. My stories range from this one time at band camp to this one time at the fraternity. And then my friends make fun of me because now it's like, hey guys, did you know I do a podcast?
You're that guy.
Yeah, it's like white guy doing a podcast. So whoa, watch out.
Whoa.
There's a book title.
Yeah.
Surprise.
But thank
All
you,
right.
thank you very much, Adam.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Adam, we hacked you back. We hacked back we hacked you this time.
Karma.
We got you. Well, yeah, karma, right? So, we forgot something because we're complete dumb. I'm a complete dumb. I don't know about them, but I am. We forgot to do our questions. Our robots dozen questions with you. We can't forget to do that. So we have to do it. So, we're gonna put you on the spot right now. You didn't expect us to hack you back, and now we're gonna throw a bunch of dumb questions at you, and you got to answer them quickly. You ready?
This is the most exciting hacking that's ever occurred. I'll tell you
We're
what.
so excited. I'm so excited to hack. I was typing frantically into my keyboard. That was hack Adam, and it worked.
Did you
Three
say
of us
something?
hacked at once.
Yeah. All right. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Hold on to your butt. Here we go. Question number 1. We're going to do this kind of around in a circle. Question number 1: ketchup or mayo?
Mayo.
Mayo. Got it. That's the Splatoon thing this weekend, by the way. All right, Ken.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Squid people for life, buddy.
Boxers or marmalade?
What was the first one?
Boxers or marmalade?
Marmalade.
Boxers as in like the underpants or the
Yeah.
dog?
Yes.
So,
Or marmalade.
so be in bed with only marmalade.
Whoa. Whoa.
This New England stuff, man. These New Englanders, you can't control them. Okay, so the bombs have dropped and you are in your basement, your own basement. What are the first 2 things that you do?
Seal the door
Mm-hmm.
and look to see if I have a radio.
Very practical.
Good.
All right. I've got a much bigger question for you. If you were king of the universe, what would be your first order of business?
I guess having a feast.
A party.
A party.
I am now king of the universe. Feast with me.
I want food from every planet, please.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of food. All right.
It's going to be a big party.
You, a desert island, lots of supplies, and 2 CDs.
Are you asking for the 2 CDs?
Yes.
There wasn't a question. Imagine this scenario. Thank you. Next.
A theatrical exercise. I want you to visualize.
Oh, geez. A CD. I don't know. I haven't had a CD in years.
There's only a CD player on this island.
Pulse, which was techno music from 80s.
Oh, good call.
I would have that, and I think I would have Dion DiMucci.
What is Dion DiMucci? I don't know
He's
that.
a song singer. He's from the
A song singer.
I think he's got one of the songs in Fallout.
I prefer sing-songers.
Sing-songers,
Just different genres.
song singers.
What was the last dream that you can remember having?
The last dream I had involved me on the subway going to work, and there were too many people, and I didn't want to be near the people, so it was just very stressful.
A social distancing dream.
When I was a bank teller, I would dream of counting money, and I was always really mad at myself when I woke up for having that dream.
Wasted dream. What's wrong with me?
I have a recurring dream of waking up, getting ready for work, leaving for work, and then waking up and having to
that's the worst.
do it again.
Yeah, that's the worst when you have a dream about working on something and then you wake up and you still have to do it. And you're like, I already did it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next question. If MySpace was cool again, what tacky thing would you add to your profile?
Something with flashing glitter.
Flashing glitter.
Yeah.
Like a rainbow or a unicorn?
Nah, just like, a solid like copper Sparkles.
Copper sparkles. I like it.
You're on death row for editing Star Wars yet again. And nobody liked the changes. What would be your final meal?
Ooh, that's a good one. My final meal would definitely be a fondue, the soupy kind, and I would have a bunch of meats as well as a lobster tail. And then for dessert, I would have more fondue, but the dessert type.
Like
Looks like a
chocolate.
theme.
Like,
Yeah,
I dig
yeah,
it.
the chocolate kind.
yeah.
Okay, so you've heard the question if you could have one superpower, but if you could give everyone one superpower, what would it be?
Healing.
I didn't even
Ooh,
have to think about that one. That's a great
that's
one.
very
Thanks a
benevolent.
lot, John Lennon. God.
Very benevolent. All right, we're down to the last 3 questions. Here's my last one. What exactly is a gift horse, and why not look it in the mouth?
Well, it's from Trojans, and you don't look it in the mouth because you'll see the Trojans. So you let the horse in, and then you die.
You look a gift horse in the mouth.
You're not supposed to, right? You're not supposed to look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's the saying. It's a Trojan horse, and then they'll come out and kill you. So you might as well not look and then be killed by secretly
You know,
by
oblivious.
surprise. Oblivious
Don't suffer
killing is
twice.
better. Perfect. Makes perfect sense.
You are shrouded in glitter, riding upon a gift horse. Where in the world would you fly to
Mongolia.
for some fondue?
Fondue in Mongolia.
Is it a Mongolian gift horse? Is it one of the furry ones? The really, really furry ones? The little fat furry horses? Those
Are
guys
you
are
talking
awesome.
about like a yak?
It's riding a yak.
Aren't there like furry horses in Mongolia? I think there are.
Not that I know of, but I mean,
Oh, yeah,
that
they have
doesn't mean
like
much.
long hair. Yeah.
Yeah. Long hair
Yeah.
furry horses that yeah, that's totally a thing.
I'm a geography major. I've got the degree right here.
Yeah. Mongolian horse.
Are horses part of geography?
Everything.
They live on.
Geography.
Yes, look here. I'm going to share
Geography.
this. I'll share a picture in our general chat.
Oh, good. That way everybody on the podcast can see it. Okay.
Everybody on Discord will see it too.
For our final question, you know the Seminole mercenary, the Seminole nursery rhyme, "This Little Piggy."
Hmm.
You have 10 seconds to name me all the 5 places that the little piggies go in This Little Piggy.
This little piggy goes to market. This one stays home. This one goes wee wee. No, wait, I don't know. Wait, there's
Oh, one
5.
Yes,
Beef?
there's 5.
Like you have beef, and this one has none, but they don't go anywhere. I don't know. I guess they all
Fine.
went to their own house.
You have achieved your 10 seconds and your answer as well.
Didn't that one have roast beef?
Yeah.
that a
One
pig?
had
Go
roast beef
anywhere.
and one had none.
That's right, yeah.
He went to
Yeah.
Roast Beef Town, don't you?
That's weird. I never
You
thought
got
about
it.
it.
He
Why
went to-
would a
he
pig
went to
eat
Arby's.
a cow? Why would a pig eat a cow? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they're
Cows are
cannibals. They should have-
bastards.
It's not a
Visual
pig, it's a
reports.
piggy. Come on. So you know the
I
difference.
mean, they're like farm buddies. You don't eat your farm buddy.
Have you read Animal Farm?
Okay, maybe you do. Well, Adam, thank you for surviving our questions. And we're going to
God.
tally this. We're going to put this in the computer. And I'm entering it right now and see what you get for your. This is actually secretly your goat, which everybody knows. And you, my friend, are a roofer.
A roofer
Yes, you will be a roofer for the rest of your life.
for the vault?
You're a vault roofer. Congratulations.
Somebody's got to get out there and do what
Yay.
that hurt.
I guess that's better than the chaplain I always get.
Yep. Well, now you're a roofer. So congratulations. Thanks for joining us again. And sorry we had to hack into your computer.
It's okay.
Okay. Okie dokie. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
All right. We are at the end of the show. And of course, we have our soapbox. And we physically, I don't have any soapbox. Dave, did you bring a soapbox in your room?
let me see. Do I have a soapbox? I'm looking around now. No. Wait, I have a good alternative. In my room, I happen to have as I go away from the mic, a particularly good item to wear whenever maybe one of us has like a soapbox moment. Because every soapbox that we talk about is really, guess what? A party in disguise.
Ah,
So I've now put on my Vault Tech party hat.
yeah.
Not very successfully.
It is a party in disguise. You're right.
Right. I feel like a unicorn or maybe a rhino. Anyways,
A rhino corn.
so maybe I should get some
rhino
soapbox.
corns.
Oh
How
my
come nobody's
gosh.
invented that before?
That's a
Go on,
brand.
sorry.
That's a brand new sentence. I have a few soapboxes, and I kind of want to put them all into a very specially contained Pell. This week from the bowels of communities such as Reddit, from an anonymous user, I have the soapbox rant. This one is called "I've Given Up on the Treasure Hunt Event." This is my 20th Dusty Pail in a row, and honestly, I've given up. I have no caps to buy the coveted ornate pails myself. And I apparently have the absolute worst luck because I've only found one ornate pail, and it contained a crap load of dust and nothing. This event is turning out just like the Christmas event last year for me. I find a good spot to farm, and I never get anything good until a duper comes trotting along and drops off a select number of ill-gotten gains and gifts. I only have 4 days to get anything good from this event, and I've gotten 20 dusty pails from just an hour of farming. I must need a rabbit's foot, boiled in leprechaun blood, encased in 4-leaf clovers, because I have had shit luck with these mole miners. Indurant.
You can buy rabbit's foot in the atomic shop for 14
What does that
atoms.
even? What does that even mean?
I love it.
Is that a good thing?
A rabbit's foot. This sounds like a ritual. This sounds like an Irish ritual. I don't know why we're so. I guess luck of the Irish, I suppose.
I think he summoned a demon with that ritual. I don't.
Clearly, he did not complete the ritual of chewed. If he would have, then things would have been very different.
That's true. Coming into this week, I had 25,000 caps, and now I have 3,000 caps. Just because I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do much hunting here. I don't have that much time for some hunting, so I just went and bought the 4,000 cap ornate lunch pails and got a few cool plans and washed my hands.
What plans did you get?
I got 2 insurgent. I got the insurgent hat and the insurgent outfit. I kind of wanted the treasure hunter outfit too, but the good thing about those is you can actually just craft them and give them to people, which is really nice. So, like if you have if you're looking for the Marine combat helmet, if somebody has the plan, they can just craft it and give it to you. It's no big deal. And then I got a plan for a circus cage, and I went to go build that, and it's like a circus trailer underneath a concrete foundation.
Awesome. I haven't seen this.
And I want to use that, and I'm very curious as to exactly how I'm going to use this circus cage. But it does remind me. It reminds me a lot of the Christmas event itself. And I understand if you're just trying, if you don't have any caps, if you haven't saved up a bunch of stuff to go out and buy a bunch of them, then it can be kind of strange, especially because I'm still seeing Christmas gifts in the game just from dupers having them, and I can just go buy them from like they're being sold for like 200 caps and vending machines that I've seen, just because people have like 50 extremely large gifts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The community has had a really mixed reaction to this event. I think part of the problem is unlike when we had the holiday scorched, you had a way to bring them to you. So we figured out that if you go to Glass Cavern, you pick a piece of ultracite, and here they come. So you're pretty much guaranteed of generating one. This one, it's like here's an entire region of the map. Go there and see if you can find one. Which can be frustrating to kind of bounce around. So, you're spending money on fast travel, going to these different points, trying to find this one thing. They're spread across a wide region, so it's kind of hard to track them down. And on top of that, you've got people trying to release different maps of the best routes. And I think now there's like 4 or 5 different maps. And at one point, I created my own meme by just taking a circle and encircling the entire ash heap region with red.
Here, there be treasure.
They're all here.
Go.
Do this route. There's been a few different maps that have come out. SH Games did the map that I used, and we had better luck doing that. But we did that on Friday. We got really good drops as far as getting the ornate pails and at least getting them consistently. We started in Camden and kind of work our way down. I'll link you to that map because that map seems to be the best one. Beyond that, I think it's frustrating for people because in a way, dupers get the leg up on this one in a way because the Christmas presents seem to be dropping the same kind of loot table as far as the plans go, which people are kind of frustrated with.
I think it's good. I think it's good to have an event though in the ash heap because a lot of as we go on, the most visited areas for a high level player are probably Cranberry Bog and the Mire. Everybody has camps in the forest and the Savage Divide, so people go there. You're starting to see more stuff in the crater because of the raider outposts there, but really there's not much in the ash heap. Unless
no one goes down there. I went there
goes
once in the main
south.
story and I never been back.
Right. And so I think they're trying to figure out a way to bring people down to that area and show it off because it is very interesting. Story wise and design wise, it's very different from the other parts of the map. But the creatures, unless you're just trying to get shotgun ammo from mole miners, there's not much to really dig into down there,
I like the area. I think it looks cool.
Well, I grew up in the area, so you know what? I'm just joking.
How dare you?
All right, fine.
How dare
I don't like the area.
That's my stomping ground.
That's my ash heap.
You don't talk about it like that. No, I'm kidding. That's
yeah. But with any of these events, a few things to bear in mind is have a plan. A lot of people are just kind of jumping all over the map willy-nilly, and you can't do events like that. Also, any of these new events are going to have a cooldown timer. That one had 10 minutes as a cooldown timer per zone. So you go through and you got to give a region time to reset. Being in teams actually affects the number of spawns as well. So trying to do it solo, you're going to run into a lot less than if you're in a team.
I did a whole sweep of the area and I didn't run into a single one, and I was alone. So maybe I need my boiled rabbit's foot and leprechaun blood.
I was helping myself.
Gotta make some friends.
Treasure miners.
Gotta make friends. Gotta talk to other humans. That's what it takes sometimes.
I'm not making any friends.
I don't want to talk to people.
I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to be on a microphone. I don't want people hearing my recorded voice. That's just not something that I'm into.
I'm never going to do a podcast.
No. I will never do that.
You're not recording this now, are you? No?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we've been recording a podcast for the last few months, Dave. Surprise.
It hasn't all just been a...
This episode has been very meta.
Talking to each other the whole time. All right. Well, I feel like that wraps up the episode.
It does.
Yeah. Very cool. And so let's wrap it up. Let's go back through, because I introduced Dave last. So Dave, go first and let people know how to get a hold of you.
You can get a hold of me by my collar. That's a great way
or not
to
at
do
all
it.
Because Dave doesn't like to talk to people.
I don't like to talk to people. Don't talk to me. I'm just kidding. You can find me on Twitter at Dave Chafinz, on Instagram at Chafinz, CHAFINZ. That's also my PSN if you want to hang out with me. And I don't like hanging out with people. I'm just kidding. I actually hang out with a few people that listen to the podcast. You can also see I'm doing some other podcasts that are kind of undergoing some structure changes. So hear more about that when it's time. Other than that, that's it.
That's it. All right.
That's it.
Ken?
You can find me at fallout76podcast.com and also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fallout76podcast. We've recently been streaming. You can find us now on Twitch. We've been streaming our Friday night mixers, our party nights. So you can also find us streaming there now as well, gameplay. Going into this summer, actually with my show, we'll be getting back on track. The next episode will be out within the next few days. And we're working on a very large summer special with some big name people. And there's going to be an in-game role-playing experience. So players will be able to enjoy us and enjoy the characters by joining us in a world for a scripted experience.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. And I'm available anywhere that you see Robots Radio. So robots_radio at robots_radio on Twitch. If you search Robots Radio YouTube or Robots Radio, did I say Twitch? Twitter at robots_radio on Twitter. There's a Robots Radio Twitch. I stream every so often in the evenings. So you're welcome to come hang out with me while I play Fallout or whatever else I happen to be playing. And I do other podcasts like the Fallout Lorecast and a bunch of other lorecasts. So just check out everything on robotsradio.net. You'll find everything that the three of us are doing and anyone else on the network is doing. And that's a wonderful way to check up on all that stuff. Plus, there's the Robots Radio Discord. So if you want to jump in there, we've got almost 900 people now on our Discord chatting about Fallout and a bunch of other stuff and posting funny pictures. And you'll find that if you jump in the Discord, you will immediately get a bunch of people welcoming you. It's a super friendly group. It's it's probably what I think is the best part of the internet, because there's, if somebody's a complete douche, they just don't stick around, because it's all about being cool and being nice with each other. So if you're looking for other people to play games with, that's a great place to go too. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me again. And this has been fun. And I'm glad that this whole recording between rooms thing seems to be working out. I guess we'll have to just double check once we edit it down for the actual episode, make sure nothing messed up.
Yep. I wonder if we can get Mr. Handy to drill some holes so we can send notes to each other or something. That'd be nice.
Yeah, like in middle school when the kids would yell between the rooms.
Yeah, exactly. I want to relive middle school. That sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds great. The kids in the English classroom would yell through the little gap in the false wall into Mrs. Evans' history class, and they'd go, "Help, I'm stuck in the wall." And the first time it happened, Mrs. Evans flipped out and she was like, "Oh, somebody's stuck in the wall." And the kids never let her live that down.
That Mrs. Evans,
yeah, they used to joke that she kept vodka in her drawer in her desk. Poor Mrs. Evans.
Dark. Wow.
Somewhere out there, Samantha and Mrs. Evans are our roommates. At the end of a dead-end road, behind a chain link fence, a yard filled with weed.
She was old back then. She must be 100 years old by now.
Maybe she's trapped in a wall, Tom, huh? Maybe.
Oh, poor Mrs. Evans. I'm sorry, Mrs. Evans.
And just like that, the story became a creepypasta.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time on the next episode of the Fallout Hub. Talk to you later. Bye.